Yo, this one's gonna hit, and I mean this in the best way, the most respectful way. These are things that I particularly got smacked in the face, got smoked in my own life, and I'm gonna share it with you today. So buckle up. This is a real one. There's a dad in our community who drives home from work every single day and stops at the same store and buys alcohol every day. He knows it's costing him. His ex is using it against him in court. His lawyers are being targeted by it. His kids are watching who their dad is becoming. And he came to our group and said, I want to stop. I know I need to stop, but I keep doing it. I asked him one question. You tell me that your kids mean everything to you. So why don't you do everything for them? And he went quiet, very quiet. And then he said, I don't have an answer for that. The silence was the beginning of his breakthrough. Because here's the truth that most divorced dads aren't saying out loud or to anybody. The gap between what we say our kids mean to us and what we actually do to protect that relationship is where everything falls apart. You say they mean everything. The question is whether your daily decisions say the same thing. Here's the pattern. Every divorced dad I've ever coached says the exact same thing. My kids mean everything to me. They mean the world. They are everything. There's not a dad I've talked to in our community because our community is good dads. Dads that want to be good dads. Your kids mean everything. And I believe them. I believe them every single time. Crying on phone calls with me, sharing some of their darkest fears and secrets. I hear them all. And I believe them. But belief without behavior is just a feeling. And a feeling without a system behind it just gets demolished by the first trigger that it hits. The drive home from work for this guy is the trigger. The stress of the day, 12-hour days, 14-hour days, the exchange that didn't happen. Maybe it's the silence in the house that he's about to go into. And without a system to interrupt that trigger, the old pattern wins every single time. And let me tell you what's happening in the brain. Let me give you some brain science behind this because it's helpful to understand why this is happening. Neuroscientists have shown that habits are stored in the basal ganglia, a part of the brain that operates largely outside conscious awareness. Once a habit loop is established, trigger, routine, reward, willpower alone cannot override it. The brain defaults to this groove. It's like a groove in a record. It just keeps going and going and going. The only thing that reliably breaks the pattern is replacing the routine with a different behavior attached to the same trigger. So willpower is not a system. Wanting to stop is not a system. Loving your kids is not a system. Telling somebody that your kids mean everything is not a system. A system is what converts that love into the action that the love requires. That's what it looks like. And let me give you a picture of what this can look like for you, okay? Here's a picture that's been helpful for me. And I've had to go through many of these times when what I said about what I wanted in my life or what I wanted for my kids was not matching what I was doing in my own personal life. So I want you to picture a bucket with a hole in it. Every day you fill it with effort, discipline, and good intentions. And every night, the hole drains it back to where you started. And most divorced dads are filling the bucket every day. They're working hard. They're showing up. They're going to a group or a school community. You know, they're trying to find brotherhoods. They're listening to podcasts and YouTube videos, but they have a hole, an unaddressed pattern, an unbroken habit. And that hole drains everything they pour in. You cannot outfill a leaking bucket. The work is not more water. The work is finding the hole and then sealing it. The drive home in the store for this guy, that is the hole. The alcohol, the porn, the scrolling, the numbing, those are holes. And the bucket will keep draining until the hole gets sealed. Not managed, not reduced, sealed. It's not, and I know from my own life, I'll share with me, what I would do is I would minimize them as much as possible. And I would make the hole smaller and smaller, but there was still a hole. I didn't completely seal the hole. I didn't completely eliminate these things, these energy drainers, these holes in the bucket. And it just, I'd get a little bit further, and then there'd be a hole. Guys, today we're going to stop that. Again, if this is already describing something that you recognize, I want you to hit follow on Spotify or subscribe on Apple right now. Every follow puts this episode in front of another divorced dad who has a hole in his bucket and doesn't know how to seal it. 2 clicks, real impact. Do it now. Stay with me. This is about to get very practical. Guys, if you're not subscribed, I know 30% of you are. I just challenge you, do something hard. Put this in your ear every day. It will start to change you from the inside out of what you're hearing so that you start to do it. Now, the next step is get in our school group and jump in there and get with a band of brothers, and don't do this alone. Get accountable. Empty the crap. Discover the holes. Let's plug those things so that you can be you again. I want you to be maximum impact. I want you to change your life and legacy. I want all those things to happen for you. Here's the tool today. It's called the Gates of Change. It's a great tool. It's super simple. It's one of the tools that I've used consistently over the last 5 to 6 years because it really identifies where I'm at and how to continue a habit, not just start a habit, not just do it for, 10 days or 2 weeks, or this is a habit. And if you want the habit to stick, I'm going to give you how to make the habit stick, not how to just change a habit. I want the habit to stick. So the first thing that you have to do is I'm going to give you, again, this pattern that I've used with dads, with myself. I'm going to walk them through in order because you have to do the first 3 steps before we get to number 4. There's 4 steps. You cannot get change that sticks unless you do the first 3. So here's the first one. The first one is awareness. You have to see the pattern clearly before you can change it. Not vaguely. It has to be specific. You have to be specifically aware. So in this instance, with this dad, and there's other dads, and very, very often when dads come to me with these types of things, I say, when does the trigger happen? What is the pattern of the trigger? Is it at home? Is it when you're at work? Is it at night? What time at night? What place at night? What time in the morning? There's specifics to these patterns because this is a groove in the record. And you have got to understand the groove so that you can change that course. You can change the record from continue to spin that way. So we go into the trigger. What's the exact behavior? And what is the reward that the brain is getting? For this dad, the trigger obviously was driving home, stress from work. The behavior was stopping at the store. And the reward was numbing the stress and loneliness for a few hours. I want you to name all 3. I want you to write them down. Most men stop here. They have awareness, but they treat it like the solution. Awareness is not the solution. Awareness is the first gate. It's not the destination. You first have to be aware. What is this thing? What is this hole in my bucket? The second thing is acceptance. And acceptance is saying, it's not saying, hey, this is just who I am. Oh, this is just something that I deal with. No, the acceptance is ownership. I am owning this problem, this leak in my bucket. I'm owning it. Extreme ownership. I'm taking ownership of it. And this is where most dads stall. Acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with the pattern. It means you stop making excuses for the pattern. You own it completely. No qualifications, no yes, but, right? I stop at the store because I choose to, not because of the stress, not because of the divorce, because I choose to. That is ownership for this individual. I chose to make that decision. Nothing caused it. I chose it. That sentence is brutal, and it's the only one that gives you power to change. The moment you own the behavior fully, you own the ability to change it. You cannot change what you blame on something else. This is the way forward. This is step 2, ownership. Step 3, this one will melt your mind. It's what was the hardest thing for me. It's the hardest thing for dads to do. It's the hardest thing that they've never been trained to do. They've never been taught to do. And when you do this, most times you have been punished for it. And that's accountability. This is the gate that converts intention into reality. One person who knows a specific pattern by name, not a general accountability partner. Someone who knows about the drive and the store for this guy. Somebody who knows that he's in his car crying about the pain that he's going through. So this dad in our group told his attorneys he's in our community. He told the group about the pattern on our calls in our school group. He named it publicly. And the moment it became witnessed, it stopped being just his secret. And secrets sustain patterns. Witnesses interrupt them. So I want you to find one person who knows your exact hole in that bucket and will ask you about it specifically. There's guys in our school group that I check in. Some of it's porn, some of it's weed, some of it's alcohol, some of it's scrolling, some of it's being distracted by work and being distracted by other things. There is a hole in the bucket. And when they are specific about the hole, then they can get witness to it. They can get accountable to it. They can get audited by it. And this, my friend, these three are going to lead you up into step 4. Step 4 is exactly where most people try and run to step 4. If you do not have step 1, awareness, step 2, acceptance and ownership, and step 3, accountability, then step 4 is just going to be run by your emotions. It's going to be short-lived. It's not going to stick. So listen carefully. Step 4 is action. This is the habit interrupt. This is the actual move that you do. You cannot just stop a behavior. You have to replace it. The brain needs a new routine attached to the same trigger. So for this dad, 3 options that we discussed. I'll give you super practical options that we gave him. First one, drive a different route home that doesn't pass the store. He can do that. He can choose to take longer to get home. Step 2, leave your wallet at home if you can, so that you don't have the money to buy something. Step 3, replace the stop with a 20-minute walk before you go home. Same trigger, different routine. Go to the park, go for a walk. Don't drive past that thing. Maybe leave your wallet at home. Sometimes music is being played. That's a trigger for sometimes doing these things. The action has to be specific enough to execute it on the first hard day, not when you feel ready. On the first day when the stress hits and the old pattern calls. And then that begins to stick. Awareness, acceptance, accountability, and then action. So I want to give this to you guys really quickly for those of you dads listening. I want to come back to that dad for a second. He committed to stopping. We even suggested, hey, there was a time when he had a streak of not drinking. I said, what'd you do during that streak? What were the things that helped you? And one of them was having an app. He had an app that he tracked, the days that he was sober, and it was helpful. He said, man, I had 100 and some days tracked. I said, great, let's do that again. And he committed to that. He's changing a route. He's looking at run clubs as well at that time when he's off work to get with other people and begin to move and disrupt the pattern. He got accountable. He's sharing his story with his attorneys to let them know that, hey, sure, is this something that you're aware to? This is what I'm doing and I'm accountable to it. He's backing it up. He's doing those things. The gap is closing. The words are becoming actions. Your kids don't need to feel differently about them. They need you to close the gap between what you say and what you do. The gates are the path, and I encourage you to walk through all 4. So in James, it says this, and then we'll start to wrap this up. So listen carefully. This is 2 parts here that are going to galvanize what we just talked about. James 1:22. Do not merely listen to the word and deceive yourself. Do what it says. James could have written this specifically for divorced dads in recovery, literally. Do not merely listen. Do not merely attend the group. Do not merely say your kids mean everything. Do what it says. Do what the love requires. Do what the commitment demands. The deception James is warning about is not lying to others. It's the comfortable lie that we tell ourselves that hearing and feeling is the same as doing. It is not the same. It's never been. Your kids need the doing. So my challenge to you is close the gap. Drifters say their kids mean everything and then stop at the store on the way home. They have the feeling without the system, the love without the action, the awareness without the gate. Builders, though, they close the gap. They name the pattern, own it completely, find a witness, and build a specific action that works on the hardest day. Not just the easy ones, the hard ones. Every dad in this audience loves his kids. That's not the question. The question is whether your daily decisions say the same thing your heart does. Close the gap, walk through the gates, do everything because your kids mean everything. That is the work. That is the climb. That is what we do in the ascent. If this episode hit you, share it with a dad whose words and actions are not matching, who says his kids mean everything but still has a hole in his bucket he hasn't sealed. 2 clicks gives him help and hope. And that might be the most important thing you do for him today. Follow on Spotify, subscribe on Apple, and if you're ready to walk through the gates with real accountability around you, men who will ask you specifically about the drive home, the links to work with me and join the brotherhood are in the show notes. Those of you that are business leaders, business executives, high-level guys like yourself, I encourage you to look into one-on-one and apply to work with me. Those are the guys that I work with one-on-one. There's a slot that is going to be opening here shortly and soon. I encourage you, hit the link in the show notes, apply. Working on your cash flow, working on your mindset, working on the time with your kids and your schedule and getting audited and getting under the hood. No more excuses, no more cutting corners. Your life is valuable. Show your kids. Don't just say it, show it. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. God bless you.